Well, let's dig into this a little with Ross Feingold. He's an Asia political risk analyst and also former policy advisor to the Taipei city government. He joins us now live from Taipei via Skype. Ross, I see there's mounting pressure here on Beijing as the US is mounting a campaign over Taiwan's status at the WHO. I mean, is that likely to make any difference?
They could try, but it looks like China is very steadfast in its position. So what we should be watching for is the level of enthusiasm that other countries have to do something about this and to assist Taiwan. Unfortunately, the pattern in the past is that other countries will make statements prior to the WHO meeting that they support Taiwan's substantive participation. But then when the meeting occurs, these other countries don't really do anything, and they just allow the meetings to go forward without Taiwan, and they'll say how sorry they are that Taiwan isn't allowed to participate, and they'll blame China. So we actually really need to see more support from other countries rather than just rely on Taiwan to do this on its own or for the U.S. By itself to advocate for this.
Ross, I see that Taiwan actually just needs a simple majority, if I'm right, of the 194 member states to actually support its attendance. I mean, that doesn't seem like a hugely high threshold. Is that still impossible?
Well, China will obviously be doing a lot of behind-the-scenes advocacy to persuade just enough countries not to support this. It would be hugely embarrassing for China if there's a close vote. Unfortunately, Taiwan, not only does it lack diplomatic relations with most countries, it only has a very small number of countries that diplomatically recognize it. There are a lot of other countries that Taiwan might have strong trade or cultural relations with, but not necessarily the political relations to persuade these other countries to take this bold step, to do the brave thing and push back against China and say, look, it's just the right thing to do to allow Taiwan to participate. So we'll be watching to see if, as I said, other countries are willing to make that bold move.
Well, it's regarded broadly that Taiwan has been very effective when it comes to managing its outbreak of coronavirus. And there's been so much talk broadly of information sharing and coordination between countries. How much of a difference has excluding Taipei made to the global response to the pandemic?
It's a very good question because, as you said, Taiwan has responded very well. The government has done a good job. This has been recognized not just here domestically in Taiwan, but around the world by other governments and global media. The reality is Taiwan does have dialogue with other countries. And frankly, if you take the increasingly common view in the United States and some other countries, such as Australia as well, the WHO is just not a very well-run organization. So you can take the view, who needs it? The reality is Taiwan does have a dialogue with key partners, major countries, whether it's the United States, Australia, Canada, Japan, Singapore. But that, of course, is not as ideal as being part of the broader WHO and WHO platforms, whether for information sharing, access to data, and attending various kinds of technical meetings beyond this week's meeting.
Ross Feingold there, an Asia political risk analyst, speaking to us from Taipei. Always good to get your insights, Ross, on Al Jazeera.